Let's make the React configuration way more cleaner. Let's take this opportunity to do a quick video to show you how can you move certain constant and send certain values from variables onto a separate file, and what we're going to do is literally call it using an import, okay? That will definitely look way more professional. So let's go ahead and make it happen.
Net2Dev.
Okay, so this will be a very short video because we are preparing ourselves to start doing some intense JavaScript functions to get many outputs from our smart contracts into React, so then we can manipulate the values and do some cool things, okay? But for that, I decided to do this quick video to show you how can we clean up the config, because remember, we got a lot of things that we are dependent, and we need those things to make Web3 calls to the smart contract. We need the ABI. So each smart contract that we interact with will have its own ABI. That ABI needs to be imported onto React, so then the Web3 connection knows exactly what options or what functions can we talk to the smart contract, right? So we need to make sure that the ABI is imported. So in this case, in the Web3 application that we're building, we are interacting with 3 smart contracts. We are interacting with the NFT smart contract, we are interacting with the vault or the staking smart contract, and we finally are interacting with a custom ERC20 token smart contract because we want to allow users to buy NFTs using a custom ERC20 token, which will be our own staking reward token, okay? So for that, we need to import those ABIs, those contract ABIs, onto the React application. However, on the last videos that I cover the ABI, and this will be a separate video series. If you go back into my videos when we discuss how to build your first Web3 app, there is a section where I am going to be working with Contract ABI, which is basically the interface between the Web3 application and the blockchain. Or in this case, the Ethereum or EVM-based blockchain, right? So we need to import that. So then React knows, okay, well, what kind of functions do I have available to make calls? How can we tell React what it can call? It's with the ABI. But in the previous videos, we see the ABI in the same App.js. Let's change that. Let's take out all the ABIs because we got 3 different ABIs and it's a very long list of ABI parameters. Let's move that to separate files, okay? We are importing those files into the App.js, and that's how the functions in JavaScript will call those ABIs by just invoking the imported ABI name, okay? I'm gonna show you how to do that. And also, I am going to show you how can we export certain variables that we will use across the entire Web3 app by also importing it in a similar fashion. We will build a config file. We will store all the variables that we are going to use across all of our calls. And what I'm going to do, I am going to go into the app.js file, and we are importing that. So instead of me configuring the variables or the vars in the actual app.js, we are building a separate file, adding those vars over there, and then just calling them to the app.js file. This will be a very quick video because on the next video, you better buckle your seatbelt because we are going hardcore JavaScript async functions, and we are going to perform some crazy get functions, okay? So let's go ahead, let's jump real quick and let's take care of this one, okay? We need to get the ABI from each smart contract that we are interacting with, okay? So in order for us to do that, we have to do the following. We'll have to compile the smart contract in Remix and get the ABI output from there, okay? And I'm going to show you how we imported that ABI before, but I'm going to show you a better way to leverage import and export so then we can use that instead of pasting everything onto the app.js. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Head to Remix. Okay, we are at Remix. And the next step that I'm going to do, I'm going to hit here. I'm going to create a new workspace. And I am going to create a file. I'm just going to call this nft.sol. I got the file here. Cool. Now I'm going to head to my GitHub. And let's go to the NFT staking one. I'm going to use the NFT staking v3. And I'm going to select all from the raw output. And we are pasting this inside Remix. Okay, so what I'm looking forward, or I'm looking to do here, I want to compile this. Once we compile the smart contracts, by importing this main smart contract, the NFT staking smart contract, we will get the ERC721 enumerable, and we will also get the entity rewards. This is the ERC20 token smart contract. So we will get our 3 ABIs needed to run the app. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and compile this file. I'm gonna select A04, which is the version that I'm running. And that should be it. Let's see if we don't run into any errors. Good, awesome. So now you can see that I've effectively compiled the smart contract. Now under contract, right? Let me just zoom in. I wanna show you here, and I hope that this looks good. So if you can see down here, the ABI, I can then copy the ABI for each unique contract. So in this case, I want to get the staking smart contract ABI. So first of all, I'm going to start with the ERC20 enumerable, right? We are copying that. This is the NFT smart contract. Okay, I'm going to go back in my app.js, and then I am going to create a constant. I'm going to do it the way that I previously showed how to do. So I'm going to go constant. I'm going to say ABI. That was the name that we previously set for this, right? Control V. And sure enough, now I imported the NFT contract ABI. With this constant, I can actually make the calls using Web3, the Web3 JS library. I can use that to the contract methods and then interact with the ABI. But guess what? I still need to import 2 more. So I'm going to show you what is going to happen. The problem is my config is going to continue growing. As far as the app.js file, it's going to continue growing. So what I'm doing instead, I'm going to bring the other ABIs, but then we are going to simplify all this. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, and now I'm going to bring the staking ABI. So I'm going to select the NFT staking smart contract. Now I'm going to copy that ABI, and I'm going to go back to my app.js. And then I'm going to create the second one. Constant, I think it's Vault ABI, right? And then I'm going to again paste. Boom. So I pasted the second ABI. This is the second smart contract. This is the staking smart contract itself. This is the Vault ABI for the staking smart contract. So now I can interact also with Web3 to my staking smart contract because I got the ABI for it. The final smart contract that I got to import will be the ABI that I have to import. It's the token. It's the ERC20, the N2D reward ABI of the smart contract. So I'm gonna go back to Remix. I'm gonna go ahead and select N2D rewards. Okay. Now I'm gonna copy that ABI. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna say constant, and I am gonna call this token ABI. And then again, paste. Now we got all 3 ABIs, but look at this. This is a long config. So to even start working with HTML and my Java class, I have to scroll all the way. Like, look at this. We want to make sure that the actual config or the actual file, it's, you know, it's more clean. I'm going to show you how can we do that. This, if you don't know what JSON is another language that can be used to index information. In this case, this ABI is written in JSON, so it's JSON format. So what we can do, I can create 3 different JSON files and get this input this data that I gather from the ABI, I can go ahead and add that into each particular JSON file. Check this out. So I'm gonna go in my source folder and I'm gonna create a new file. And if you don't see it right here, let me go ahead and zoom it a little bit more. I'm gonna go into the source. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna create a new file. This new file will be ABI.json. Okay, so this will be the first ABI that I'm going to take out of my app.js and I'm going to import it into its own file, into its own little file that we can import back. Okay, let me show you how this works. So what I'm going to do, I am going to grab the entire ABI, right? And where is the beginning of the second? I think it's over here. Here we go. So we got the second one right here. So I'm going to cut, right? And we no longer need this. Now I'm going to go into the ABI.json. I'm going to go ahead and paste that. You don't need to declare any constant here because this is literally a JSON file. That's it. This is all the input. So literally from Remix, you can copy the ABI and just create a file and paste it and make sure that it ends in .json. And sure enough, then we got the first one, okay? Control S. I'm gonna do the second one. This will be for the staking smart contract ABI. So I'm gonna create a new file and this one will be Vault ABI JSON. Right now we're gonna go back and we're gonna copy the entire contents of Vault ABI. Okay, good. And I go all the way to the bottom. Let's see. Oh, here we go, and we end over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut, and now we took out the Vault ABI, and we're gonna go into Vault ABI. I'm gonna go ahead and paste. We got the Vault ABI. Awesome. So we're good. Next. And the final export, I am going to grab the token ABI and do the same thing. It's a lot of data. We don't want that, okay? So let me just right click. I'm gonna cut. And then I'm gonna go to source. I'm gonna create a new file. And this will be token ABI JSON. Okay, so now we got the three ABIs separate. We're gonna Control V and we now pasted that third contract ABI. We're gonna go ahead and Control S and check this out now. We are now importing those ABIs, and by the way, we don't no longer need this. And how do we bring this so then the app.js can interact with those ABIs? We are going to import and we are going to create the constant by just importing. Okay, so we're gonna import. Let's build the first constant, ABI from where? // and now we are telling, hey, look at the root folder, in this case in the same folder where you are, and now I can see abi.json. I'm gonna select that and boom, we got the first ABI imported by just calling the file instead of having everything configured inside the same app.js. Way better. Okay, next thing, I'm going to import Vault ABI from // guess what? Vault ABI. You saw how cool this is? I'm gonna press semicolon right there. And then finally, we're gonna do the same thing for the last one. Token ABI from where? Token ABI. Beautiful. And there you have it. Now we have imported all three ABIs without having the entire thing pasted on the same app.js. Looking good. Okay, awesome. What else can we clean from all this? Let's go ahead and export. We're gonna take out all this information, okay? By the way, I will do this separately because those are API keys and we want to save them in a way that they are not in clear text. And for that, we need to work with environment variable or env. But in this video, I am going to show you how can we export all the global constant onto a separate file so then we also take out stuff that we don't need, okay? So we can then take out this extra config and make the app.js more clean. That's what we want. We want everything to look clean so that it's easy to manage and to improve and to code onto it, okay? So I am going to right click, right? I am going to take out all this. I'm going to leave, like I mentioned, I'm going to leave the API keys there because I am going to do another video just how to hide this information out, okay? So in this case, I am going to grab everything here, copy, I'm going to leave that there. And I am going to create another file, but this file will be a JavaScript or JS file, okay? Because we are importing stuff that it's built in constant. So this is a JavaScript file, okay? So we're gonna create a file. Let's call this config.js. So we're gonna create a new file, okay? We're gonna go here, and we're gonna go and paste the information that I took out from app.js. Now, very important, this is very important. In order for me to import the same way that I did the ABIs to the app.js by calling this, if I want to do the same thing with a JavaScript code and I want to import that code onto app.js, I will have to export from here and then import there. Don't worry, I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna Control F because I want to add export to each one. So by adding export to each one, then I can import them onto the other file, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and find constant, right? And we are replacing that with export constant because we're now making this to be exportable. And we're gonna go ahead and click here, which basically changes everything. Beautiful. There you go. Now, by doing this, we are effectively, oh, by the way, I have to add this, this, and this. So those semicolons to close each one. So by doing this, now I can effectively import them onto app.js. I'm gonna show you how to do that. I'm gonna Control S, save that config file. Let me go back onto app.js. And now we are importing it, but now they all reside on one file, which means that I need to import all of them from one line. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Let me show you how to do it. I'm gonna go ahead and import, right? But then we have to open brackets right here, and we have to call each one. So if we go back onto config.js, we are importing this, copy, paste, we'll put a comma, we are copying or importing this, copy, paste, another comma, we are importing this. I'm sorry if I keep repeating, but I want you to understand how this is done. And how many? We got 2 more to go. Okay, copy, go back, paste, comma, oops, comma, and finally, we are importing the last one, which is the IPFS path, copy and paste, right? And once we get this, right, let me open here, space, looking perfect. And now I gotta type from, what from, where from? .config, that's it. Because now I am telling, very similar to what I did here, I am just telling it from config, and I don't need to put .json because it's a JSON file, okay? So yeah, so that's it. So once we're done with that, we have effectively taken out constants that we will use globally in app.js and move them to a separate file. What is a good purpose of using or of doing this? It's because now I can build this application to be easily modifiable. I don't need to touch app.js. Once I build this application, I don't need to touch app.js. I just need to go into config and replace it with my values, with the smart contracts that I deployed, and make sure that I am, you know, pointing to the destinations that I have on my pictures and such. So if I am using the API, I just need to update the address, right? If I'm using a different API. But then the smart contracts are modified in this particular file in the app.js. This is the application. We don't need to manually modify that, okay? And I can also do this. I can literally copy this and add that onto the config.js. But when we work with private keys and when we work with API keys, we want to secure them because we don't want this to be clear text. And I'll do a separate video just to cover that. It's a little bit different, but again, it follows the same purpose. We import them the same way. From environment, we import the keys, okay? So that's it. That's it. We are ready to go on to the next level. So fasten your seatbelts and we are going for some intense JavaScript functions, okay? Boom. We are done with some housekeeping. So now we got React.js looking more professional, because when we have everything organized, everything is all in separate files, we are calling those files, we can definitely troubleshoot better, we can identify issues faster, and not only that, but the code looks professional, okay? So now on the next video, get ready, because we're going. You want to become a Web3 developer? Yep. Let's start working with that. On the next video, we are going on another level. We are adding the connect button function. Okay? In that connect button function, we are nesting other functions or other calls because we want to get some amazing functionality on our Web3 dApp, so our end users find our app as easy to use as possible. But what looks easy from a user standpoint, it usually is the hardest thing for a developer. So on our next video, we are going hardcore JavaScript to get our NFT staking application fully functional. Alrighty, that's it for this video. I hope you like my videos. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to, and we'll see you on the next video. Get ready, it's go time.